I want their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show, everyone. We have a wonderful show for you guys this evening. Before we get started, help us out on patreon.com/Mamluks. Every little bit helps and goes a long way in delivering content to you. Sheikh, how are you doing? Let's get
doing
Sheikh,
good.
You guys are like what was that?
Itchy and Scratchy.
Itchy and Scratchy,
The Platypus Brothers.
I was thinking of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Tribes of Yajuj and Majuj?
The two guys. Sheikh 1 and Sheikh 2.
All right, honestly, when you get mad enough at your boys, do you ever call them Yajuj and Majuj?
No.
Never? You've never called your kids? I do, bro. Sometimes I get angry, bro. I've called my son Dajjal before. I shouldn't have to. Sometimes they give me so... I mean, I don't cuss at them, but... And then I feel bad. But, I give them good names, but sometimes... Sorry, you guys never... What's the worst thing you ever said to your kids?
I know. I did. I think
that's the worst thing I ever said to my kids. I don't cuss at them.
I went to comb through his hair and look for the 666. Like in the Omen.
I know the Omen. Yes.
The Omen. The Omen. They look for the 666 in his hair. They like start moving his hair around.
That's a whole different story,
child.
bro. I'm talking about what you said to your kids when you're angry.
I didn't say anything. I just did like this thing. Like I'm like, oh, let's just make sure.
Like he's not that bad, bro.
Let's try to figure out.
Bro, he's not that bad.
No. I'm just saying, we just want a confirmation. Maybe that's a hidden sign. Like the prophets have a sign on the back.
Yeah.
Like that birthmark or what have you. But maybe bad kids have another mark.
What about you? You ever say anything? What's the worst thing? You act like you're very shitty. If you never say anything bad to your kids, bro?
No.
No, his kids are amazing.
That's true.
Just the traditional stuff.
Just a traditional. Can you give me an example?
No, off air.
You said Yajuj or Majuj. That's why I just thought of that. The funny thing, I would never want to say that to myself, but I say it to my kids when I'm angry. It's kind of messed up, dude.
Sheikh Haqqani has a lot of stories, by the way. But he just doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
He's just being very kind right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised how you actually keep it on wraps. Really nice. A lot of us just openly talk about stuff. You don't talk about your funny stories.
Some of the stories are just amazing. Yeah. I wish we could share them on air.
Yeah, he can if he wants to.
So like the teachers call him, and the stories that he tells me. Oh, these kids are wild. Whatever you thought your kids were, Sheikh Haqqani's kids are next level.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised he doesn't say anything to them. Just a traditional. But anyways,
they're the opposite of me. I don't know where they picked that up from.
Did you guys ever notice that when we were growing up, some of the learned people, some of the shayukh that we had, their children were really far away from the religion, like because they were so dedicated to dawah and doing things in the community and stuff.
Yeah,
their kids were. I'm like, wait, you're the sheikh's son, or you're the sheikh's daughter. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask them, but I would just kind of think it. Like,
it makes
what's going on? No, but it made me realize. So I'm like, okay, that's not going to be me. I saw that with some of the teachers that we had, and I'm like, oh, he's spending all this time in dawah, but he didn't dedicate enough time towards his kids, and that's why their kids are really bad or really messed up, right? And I just kind of made a note of that in my head that they can't, nothing else can take precedence over them,
Yeah. The other thing I noticed is even sometimes it's not even just bad because they're away. They have such a leeway sometimes with their kids because they were raised in a certain way and they don't want to be like overly strict on them either. They become very casual. You probably notice about people who studied fiqh like their whole life. They're so like used to giving excuses to people because they feel bad for them that they just give so many excuses to their kids. And like that's why like sometimes when I'd be
Oh,
giving, like, a
you're
talk
saying that like they would know the Sharia so well, so that they would kind of find wiggle room.
for their kids,
For their
because they're
kids.
like, it'll be all right, as long as he does this, as long as he just prays his prayers, that's for me to do. He doesn't have to do that. I just want him to, I don't want him to go through it, whatever the case is. But sometimes I think it's really important, like, take your kids where you're going.
Yeah.
Right? You should. And you probably know this too. It's really important. Like, if you're going to go give a talk, especially if you have your boys with you, you should take your boys with you, man, especially after a certain age.
Yeah.
They should just at least see you in the situation. Maybe they're not going to understand. There's been times where I've given a talk. My son didn't understand, but he just saw the relationship that I had with the people that I was. When you're in the front and you're giving a talk, sometimes I had to share the stage with Sheikh Omar Haqqani. He didn't enjoy it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But to see how your interactions are, and they pick up on that more than the content. Because an 8-year-old, what's he going to actually pick up what you're talking about sometimes, right? When you're talking to a bunch of adults. So I think it's really important that they take their kids with them. It's really important, or else you're going to lose them, bro.
No, it's true, but I think also, to your example, I think society has a different expectation too, which I don't agree with. Because if they see someone who's prominent in the community, who's active in the community, they expect the child to be like that too.
Yep.
It doesn't work that way. It never works that way. Especially if the father is a religious figure, they expect the children to be in either at that level or higher than that. And we have that tradition, like, for example, in our culture of hafiz. If you have one hafiz, then it's a must for the children to be hafiz.
Yeah.
It's something that this community has made up, and that family is looked down upon. Like, let's say they have 4 children and 2 of them are hafiz and 2 are not. Then those 2 are the black sheep of the family for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
But it should not be like that.
You're right.
And the other thing is, people think that just because someone is prominent or widely accepted or respected scholar, they think that it should be easier for the child to be like that because they naturally think that the parent is teaching the child. But it doesn't work that way, because the child does not take the parent as serious as people think that they should.
You're right.
And from just like in anything else, and in some cases, some of these scholars, they may not have the understanding or the humility to understand that they need to hire someone, or they need to send their teacher to learn it from someone else, because they are not going to be their teacher. Maybe later on, after they matured and all of that, that's a different story. But the kids will never take them seriously.
You have to hand them off to another teacher.
That's
you see the wisdom in that.
That's very important.
Yeah, I never got that until I had kids. I was like, oh man, I gotta have my kids away from me and away from the house, because that comforts them. And the other thing is, like, a lot of times people don't talk about this, but it's just simple as you see the test that Allah's putting this person through. They dedicated their lives to studying the deen, and they've done everything they can for their child. Their child is the biggest test for them. Yeah. Like, Islamically, like, sometimes even like atheistic type stuff. And just like the parents did everything right.
Yeah.
Everything right.
There's too many factors.
There's a test. That test it's insane.
There's friends. The influence of friends often supersedes the no matter what kind of tarbiyah you do as a parent. If the environment or the place of education where the kid is going to every day, if that's messed up, then everything gets undone. Yeah.
The reason why I said that is it's a source of humility too.
Yeah.
Because this parent can be very, very prominent, but the child is on bird's eye view, the one holding him down big time, because of he can tarnish the parent's reputation. Yeah. And that's a test from Allah. Like, the reason why I said the parents did everything they possibly can, maybe they did, and they took care of all the environmental factors. They had a good balance with the kids, made sure they had everything they needed. But then at the end, Allah just wants to test that person. That child can be, or those children can be, the biggest test for that parent. Yeah. If all else fails, there's nothing you can do.
Is that problem also in the Arab world, where when you were studying in Mauritania or in Egypt? Did you see this kind of problem as well, or it's not so much?
I didn't see it there. I saw it here more than I saw it there. But over here, I'm obviously more familiar with people and the culture, and I grew up here. But I've seen it there. But I've seen the opposite too. I've seen children who surpass their parents in education, Islamic education too. Right? I've seen that here too a few times. But over there, it's just a different culture. I haven't been able to witness it as much as I witnessed it here.
Yeah, I think Sheikh Haqqani kind of made a good point where we grade the scholar or the sheikh with a much more higher grading scale, not realizing that he goes through the same problems that you do as a parent.
Yeah.
And that he oftentimes the same effect that you have, no matter how amazing of a parent you are. You may not have great knowledge or anything, but you could be still a great parent and try to do everything the right way, or all the responsibilities that a parent should. And your parent, does that make you a bad parent? No, it just means that your kid's a jerk.
Yeah, I was also laughing because I have come across people that think that, and they were talking to another scholar, they think that everyone in their house calls them sheikh. It's like, do you think that when you guys, like, you think when I walk home, my wife and kids call me sheikh? Yeah. It's like, dude, I got the same responsibility as you. My wife yells at me for not doing this on time. I have to take care of this leaky faucet. I have to do this. I have to take the kids. I was late for this meeting, this PTA meeting or whatever the meeting. Like, I'm not going to walk in there. Everyone just sits in a circle and listens to my daughters. Right? That's what happens. No, life is life, man.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So, things have happened since we met 2 weeks ago. So we had some family emergencies, people getting hurt and sick, but alhamdulillah, things are back to normal. So while we were out, there was a ceasefire that was declared. Now in that ceasefire, we had a special country who came into the mix to get both sides to the bargaining table, and that country is none other than our Dil Pakistan.
That's why I'm wearing this today. Why do you think I'm not?
Oh, was it? Really?
Yes. We have to represent.
You're wearing the Pakistani kurta.
Yes, the shalwar kameez.
Oh, I thought you would be wearing green, but yeah.
I couldn't find the green one.
Okay, got it. It looks nice though. I get it. MashaAllah.
And I forgot the flag pin as well. I have it.
No, I think Pakistan feels like they just came out of the woodwork, gun blazing. I think they feel like they're the heroes right now.
I think time will tell, but I think they're getting a lot. They have a lot of. I don't know what they're going to be able to deliver, if anything at all. But the way things look right now, it seems like they're just acting as the messenger from what Washington wants to convey to the other side, basically. And that's exactly what the media is reporting. For example, Al Jazeera, Field Marshal Asim Munir landed in Tehran today, and there's no talk about what he's there for, except what is being reported. He's there carrying a message from Washington, like what they want, basically. And it remains to be seen if they're going to be able to deliver it or not. But Pakistan is also in a critical position right now, because they're trying to act as this middle person between Iran and America. Because if we remember, Pakistan, wasn't seen in a positive light not too long ago, because after all, that's where allegedly Bin Laden was found. Okay, and the government did not trust them enough to let them know that they were coming in for the raid. Like, they didn't let the government know, they didn't let the military know. They went in the dark, if we are to believe all of that, because they were so nice and kind enough that they buried the body in the sea. So but if we go with the official story, that's what had happened, right? They were so down the list. But now for them to be seen in this positive light, where they're trying to act as a middle person between two warring nations, is a huge step, and in a positive direction for them as a nation, to be seen as somewhat as a nation that can actually play a constructive role. But on the other hand, they're trying to, because Pakistan at this time Iran at this time sees Pakistan as, someone that they can trust, someone they have historic ties with, and all of these things. But on the same day that they were having this summit, the peace summit in Islamabad, Saudi Arabia made the announcement that the Pakistani forces have landed in Saudi Arabia because of their mutual defense pact that they have. So let's say the negotiations break down and they're back to fighting again, and Iran launches attacks on Saudi Arabia. Now the same nation that was trying to broker peace with them is now obligated to defend a friendly nation that they have a pact with. How's that gonna go?
I think Pakistan obviously vouched for the optics. This is just me as an onlooker. It's like the optics look really nice for them to kind of mend their reputation, but I don't think anybody's expecting something great to happen with all of this, right? It's all optics. It's all kind of theatrics, right?
But the best optics that's coming out of all of this is from the neighboring nation, okay, who seems to be losing their mind over anything and everything that has to do with this. Like, they cannot even believe or comprehend that
And you're talking about India. You're referring to India.
Yeah, we're referring to India, of course. I mean, I don't know what they expected. Like, they expected them to be playing this role when the actual Prime Minister of India, Modi, the butcher of Gujarat, recently he went to the Zionist state and declared it as the fatherland. He said, India is the motherland,
Slaves.
and they're the
Complete
fatherland.
slaves.
So what did he expect?
Complete slaves.
You know, a lot of the Indian politicians are so upset because they felt like this should have been us. Like, this was our role. We've been sidelined. No, you've been sidelined because of your moronic leadership that you elected and that you blindly follow. That has brought you into what you are now.
The largest democracy of the world, India.
Well, I don't know if Iran should be very trusting of Pakistan, just because.
What other options do they have?
No, I mean, they don't.
There's a bunch of winks going on in all this, I think, too, man.
Well, we know that, you know, the Pakistani army is loyal to the United States. They've previously demonstrated facts where documents were produced where they were informed. They were told by the United States to remove Imran Khan out of power. Now, people need to understand the enormity and the gravity of that level of influence that the United States has on Pakistan.
Yes.
Where they can tell the army of another nation
crazy.
That they must remove their head of state and put in someone else that is more acceptable to them. That is enormous level of power, control over your the way your country works.
Yeah.
But they denied it.
Of course they're going to deny that, but there's a clear proof. At least if you look at what the Intercept.
Actually, I think I read an article recently. Imran Khan gave an interview or something that he says he revises his claim now that he doesn't believe that it was America that pressured them to do this.
Oh, of course, Imran Khan's going to say whatever he needs to say then to get the best conditions he needs in prison.
Yeah.
Whatever you're hearing about what Imran Khan is saying now is through someone else. Who knows if he's actually said that?
That's actually very true.
There's no handwritten document or any kind of voice recording that's coming out from the prison. They're going to say, "Oh, Imran Khan retracts all this stuff," and blah blah blah, and try to make themselves look better. Like, okay, so then, well, what's the reason for him to be in prison then? Release him if he actually said that, and if he actually believes it.
Because he violated the Idda period. He married her before the Idda finished.
Oh, wow, we gotta bring the whole story. Not everybody remembers all this.
That's why we need the leader of a country to be in prison, because he violated the Idda period.
So they came up with a false charge that he did not abide by his wife's Idda period, and then they imprisoned him on that.
That was one of the charges, and some other BS
That
stuff
was
that
such
they
a roller
made up.
coaster. That was such a roller coaster.
And the state gifts, right?
Yeah, state gifts.
Yeah.
It's if that's the bar that you want to set, then maybe Shahbaz needs to look at his brother.
Yeah.
And
Sharif.
The other thing I want to mention is, like, people should understand, like, yes, the Pakistan and US have good relations. They have have long relations, going back to the 80s, for example, when Zia-ul-Haq was there, when the Soviet Union had invaded Afghanistan and all of those things. But then they have a little bit of a bump on the, you know, on the way. Then you had Musharraf there, and then, you know, all of those things happen. But these Sharif brothers, if you recall, when Musharraf came into power, when he overthrew Sharif's government, where did they go to live in exile for 7 to 8 years? They were living in Saudi Arabia.
No.
So Shahbaz Sharif was there, Nawaz Sharif was there. That's why Shahbaz Sharif speaks so wonderful Arabic, according to him. He learned it all over there. Have you ever heard him speak?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I don't know if you're being serious. I don't know. I do. The longer I know you, the more confusing this becomes, because the longer I know you, the more sarcastic you become, and the more you're aging, the more you're sarcastic you're becoming. So I don't know what you're talking about.
So they forget about what I said about the language.
Just
but
forget about what I said.
They lived there all these years
as
the official, what do you call it? Guests of the government, right? Until they went back into power again. So their ties with them run deep as well. Like even, I was just listening to an interview earlier today. One of the Saudi ministers, they said that we're confident that if we are to make just one phone call to Pakistan saying we need your help, they'll send whatever we need by the end of the day. Like they'll be here.
Wow.
And their ties, the military ties that they have, run deep as well. Like going back to so many years. They used to. We talked about. I think we talked about this before as well. The Pakistani army. They used to train the Saudi army. The Saudi forces. The special forces. They used them as bodyguards for some of the royal family members as well. They used to protect some of the oil refineries and the oil installations and all those as well. So they have a long history. That's not gonna go away anytime soon. So I think they're in a pretty difficult spot in terms of balancing and keeping all sides happy. I think time will tell what's going to happen from this. But what is for sure is the craziness.
Look at this headline. I'm sorry. Serious questions on Vish Guru. I don't know who glooms. Congress slams PM Modi over U.S.-Iran talks in Pakistan. So the Indian Parliament is slamming Prime Minister Modi for their government's failure to prevent Washington from according Islamabad the key role in mediating between the United States and Iran. So there you have it. Sour grapes.
But because all these years, the only thing they've been repeating all these years that that Pakistan is a terrorist nation. Don't deal with them. Pakistan is a terrorist nation. That's all they've been saying.
Yeah.
Other than that, they have nothing else to offer.
Yeah. No, they follow the same playbook Israel does. Just call everything terrorism fundamental.
And now, after everything that's happening, I'll send you a clip if you want to play of a sitting minister of the Indian government that says that this was a very bad move on Modi's part because he cozied up to the Zionist state, which is on its way out, basically. Like they committed a massacre in Gaza. They're doing all these harms. The president is a wanted criminal, and then our prime minister went and allied with them and said that fatherland, motherland, all this nonsense that he sent and came back. Like we lost out on this one, basically, is what he says.
Yeah, very reckless. Criminals think alike. They're both criminals anyway. So.
As we talk about at least what happened after the ceasefire was agreed upon, Trump decided to do his own blockade. He decided to do his own
blockade of the blockade.
Yeah, blockade of the blockade, which that's a strategy there. I don't know what exactly there is, but there's some suspicion that he is trying to create pressure for the other countries that are being allowed to go into the Strait of Hormuz. So there was a flow that was happening with the Strait of Hormuz where there was a toll system where people were paying, and he decided that nobody can go in now. So where it was actually open, and he was saying that it's closed, he's effectively sealed it. Now, what are the consequences of that? You might think, okay, well, This guy thinks that, okay, he's going to create pressure on Iran for the negotiations. He's going to use this as a way to as a bargaining chip or something, that this is going to be something additional that they're going to do during negotiations to remove their blockade. But they're also accelerating the global economic meltdown that's happening as a result of this. For those who are living in the West, they may not be aware, but many countries all across Asia are suffering right now. They have huge restrictions on how, or recommendations on how you utilize energy. There's work from home being implemented in many offices. They're taking extreme measures to limit their consumption of energy or any oil-related products. And this has caused a massive backlash in Asian populations against the United States. They're like, hey, well, what did we do to deserve this? Because this is affecting us, and you guys started this war in that part of the world. So thereby accelerating the United States standing in the world and the Israeli standing in the world, because this is the two people who are isolated, by the way, because the Europeans don't want to have anything to do with it. Spain's already cut off relations with Israel. Italy's Melonia? Is that how you pronounce it? I want to say Melania Trump. Maloney.
Something
Maloney,
like that.
yeah. Maloney also announced that they're limiting their defense agreements with Israel, and basically even their staunchest ally in Europe, the United Kingdom and Germany, have said, "Hey, we don't want to have anything to do with this." So they're increasingly isolated in the world stage, and they're looking like fools. And so they're desperate to end this crisis, right? Now, the reason they can't is because, you're going to affect the Asians now, but this is just the immediate effect of it. A few months down the line, it's going to affect the entire world. And the entire world is going to feel the pain of what's just happened. Because right now, we're only just feeling a little bit of it with some gas prices and stuff. But turning off the oil, even to the 20, I think it's some of these plants are operating at 20% or something. But getting them back up to 80 to 100% is an enormous task. It's not easy. And it's going to take a long time to get it all running. And in that meantime, it's going to cause a lot of economic destruction in many countries across the world. And it can lead to a worldwide economic meltdown. Many of these ministers have already said that they can't sleep at night because of what's about to come. Now, imagine that. Like, you're a head of state, or these high-level ministers in many of these European countries. I'm not even talking about the Asian countries. European countries are worried where they can't sleep at night, wondering about what's going to happen, because they know they're not even giving us the complete picture of what's going to happen if this continues.
And, I think that what's making it a lot worse is based on just the sentiment and the way it's being discussed is a lot of this was so avoidable. None of this is actually necessary. Yeah. Right? It's all just kind of for a reputation of Donald Trump. That's kind of what it is. And kind of like what he's feeling like doing. It's nothing substantial.
He's literally just taking orders from the Israelis. Yeah. The Israelis bought a president. They've literally bought a president with Mary Madelson's money. And he's just taking their orders. He doesn't question. Apparently, he still hasn't even brought up, to this day, for the Israelis to withdraw from Lebanon. He hasn't even picked up the phone and called the Israelis or Netanyahu and asked him, "Hey, you think you can pull back out of southern Lebanon?" He hasn't even asked that much because he's so scared of him. He's terrified of him.
But the ceasefire statement, which was a mess in itself, the way that it came out, because supposedly the Pakistani Prime Minister requested the American leadership to give them 2-week 2-week ceasefire so they can have a conversation. But somehow that message also said draft on the top, and then for the Pakistani PM, and he posted that, and then he went back and edited that. Okay, but in that message, in that original message that which Trump then referred to later on and thanked him and all of this, in it clearly said that including Lebanon as well. But within a few minutes or within a couple hours, he got the call saying, hey, we ain't abiding by this. So they went back and they changed it. And J.D. Vance said that there must have been some confusion about it because Lebanon was never part of it. No, it clearly said by name, including Lebanon. But they went back on their word because at the end of the day, the Zionist entity, they don't want an end to this. They want this to go on. They're going to do everything that they can to sabotage this, and that's exactly what Joe Kent has said as well. The former director of counterterrorism who resigned. He said that we have to be very careful about this temporary ceasefire that we have in place because they are very good at sabotaging this, just as they've done everything else before. But I want to come back to something that we were talking about earlier too, about India and Pakistan and all of that. Yeah. What do you think about all these people, here locally and globally as well, who are just taking this very personally, in terms of...
Taking what personally?
In terms of, the nation that they represent, basically. And, even though they say they're Muslims, but, they keep bad-mouthing, another people, or, basically the Indians bad-mouthing Pakistanis, and vice versa. What's your take on all of that?
Wait, can you be a little more descriptive? What do you mean bad-mouthing? In what sense? Can you be a little more?
Can you explain to him?
No,
no, I mean they're just being nationalistic.
I get
it. They're saying like, hey, they're actually taking the side of the BJP government and in disparaging Pakistan. Like there's some, not the majority. I would say there's a sizable minority of
on both sides. It's on both sides.
Yeah, who have bought the nationalistic fervor that the BJP has brought in India, and there's Muslims who have started taking the side of the BJP. Of the BJP.
Yes. Okay.
And then there's also nationalists on Pakistan's side. And so, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. There's always been a small group of Muslims that there's some that are just trying to appease to power. They're like, this is an opportunity. We've been getting some of them actually, unfortunately, were coming from like a religious background. They tried to, rationalize, we've been getting the short end of the stick for so long. This is our opportunity to have some type of power, so we're going to appease. Some are actually really nationalistic, where they hate Pakistanis. They prefer Indians over Pakistan, right? It's all these obviously these are all disastrous scenarios.
I mean, why can a person not be nationalistic?
Man, your sarcasm, bro. Can you ask more seriously so I can...
It's a serious question. It's a serious question.
No, of course. No, look. When your love is based off of, in Islam, fake boundaries, these countries like India and Pakistan, they're not genuine, real, Islamically sanctioned boundaries.
Are you saying Jinnah fought for nothing then?
We'll get to that portion, but just to answer your first question.
That's how Pakistan was created.
No, I understand.
Did you know that they also had Jinnah's picture in the middle when J.D. Vance and Shehbaz Sharif was sitting?
Yeah.
He was overseeing the meeting.
His ghost.
But look, nationalism is something in Islam which is completely prohibited, especially when it comes to your fellow brethren. This is the very reason, this is a small example of many examples why nationalism is haram, is you have a group of people who are supporting the BJP, who completely are open about how much they hate Muslims and Islam and Allah and His Messenger. You're going to be siding with these people against people just because they're Pakistani, because of a border that was created and has no Islamic validity to have any type of disunity, right? Which is why Rasulullah spoke very harsh words against people who have asabiya, and you can refer to as wataniya nowadays as a type of like nationalism. And you begin to disassociate yourself from Allah because of a fake border, right? And the disunity that's going to be caused within this amongst people. I've met Muslims when I was in India that hate Pakistan. They just raised that way. Some of them just hate Pakistan. They don't know any Pakistanis. They've never been to Pakistan. They just heard about whatever the media, unfortunately, that has something to do with it. And their parents raised them that way. You know, these Pakistanis, and vice versa. There's Pakistanis that hate Indians, for Muslim Indians, for whatever reason. They even refer to them as Hindus, Muslims as Hindus, right? I've heard Pakistanis refer to Bengalis as Hindus, right?
I feel like Bengalis look more Asian.
Some of them do, yeah, on the border. I mean, that's a different story, but
They have kind of Asian.
They look
facial
different.
features. They do. I feel.
no, I've met Bengalis that live on the border of China that look totally Chinese.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but not all Bengalis. Okay, some of them, like he reminds me of a Bengali dude. He looks kind of Bengali, you know.
I don't think.
But
so.
anyways,
he's not.
I'm leaving.
but this nationalism thing. Look, this is something that's this is destructive towards the Ummah of Rasulullah. Rasulullah hated this idea of nationalism. And this is a small example where you have people siding with the BJP because only for the fact that it's Pakistan. That's it, right?
Yeah, there's a hadith about whoever fights under the banner of nationalism or dies under the banner of nationalism, that he dies the death of the jahili. I'm paraphrasing. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
No, there's a lot of explicit words. Wallahu alam, some of the narrations, but nonetheless, it's something that's haram. Rasulullah was staunchly against it, even in his lifetime. Which is why, like, the whole thing of tribes and getting rid of this tribalism and joining between Aus and Khazraj, Allah was very specific about these two tribes that Islam joined them together and they were at war so often, But Islam is the thing that joined them, and Islam is the thing that's going to override all this tribalism. It's okay to have. Now, there's obviously a good caveat to this. You're allowed to have your customs and traditions in Islam. What if whatever tribe you come from, whatever country you come from, customs and traditions, your clothing, the language you speak, the food that you eat, the greetings that you have. You know, a lot of Arabs, even in the Gulf, they have different greetings than the North Africans have, even they're all Muslim. That's all fine. That's all part of customs and traditions. But as far as disdain and hate for your brother because he belongs to another country, which is fake borders, not recognized Islamically.
But I don't know if you can really
let's
say.
just because I recited a
Here
hadith.
comes another. Sorry,
Jubair ibn Mut'im reported that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "He is not one of us who calls on tribalism. He's not one of us who fights for the sake of tribalism. He is not one of us who dies following the way of tribalism."
But this is not tribalism we're talking about. We're talking about nationalism. Okay,
It's a type of tribalism. Yeah.
It's a type of it, but it's not actually. But I think for you to say,
I don't know what was the point of that, and then going to another topic. Is that actually? And then
No,
you're talking
it-
about something
I'm-
else. Okay,
if
sorry.
you let me finish.
Sorry, I apologize.
I think a lot of people might take strong exception to you saying fake borders between India and Pakistan. I understand if you say that for the Gulf nations, that's a different thing. But no, I'm serious because
I don't know when you're serious. That's a problem now.
because India and Pakistan, you know, it's a whole different story as to how it was created and why it was created. It
Yeah.
was actually the Muslims who wanted it.
I'll tell you why I said fake borders. Yeah, that's a good observation. I didn't mean fake borders that way. Like not.
It wasn't like the Western forces wanted to create it. It was the Muslims who wanted it.
Yeah.
The Muslims of India wanted a separate homeland for the Muslims.
I get it totally.
Okay?
I
So
should have clarified. Yeah.
So, are you saying that we need to launch a new movement to reunite India and Pakistan and Bangladesh?
No, all Muslims. Yes, and yes. But what I meant by fake borders is that if you consider these borders between your brothers, right, of India and Pakistan, this border between us, that's a fake border. That has no weight to Allah. Rather, that's something that Allah has disdain for, right? If you're saying, oh, he's a Pakistani Muslim and I'm an Indian Muslim and I'm going to unite with these Pakistani Hindus, this BJP against this Indian army, like those guys said, we're going to join the Indian army to fight the Pakistanis who are your brothers. That's a completely fake, unrecognized border. You're putting up a fake border that's not supposed to exist between you guys, right? That's what I meant by that.
So I think what you're trying to say is this border that exists on map has actually penetrated our hearts as well.
Yes.
I think that's what you mean.
Very true.
I think it should not
That's exactly
exist
what I
in our
mean.
hearts,
Yes.
but physically it's there.
Yes.
Like I cannot. Someone who's holding an Indian passport most likely cannot go to Pakistan and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
But I think what you're talking about is that has extended so far, and has penetrated so deep into people's hearts. Yes, just like that, just like how you're demonstrating, just like that, has it has created a really bad situation, and especially for, I would say, for the DCs living in the Western countries. Like, they know that all of this nonsense was left behind, but somehow when something like this happens, somehow it comes back to life.
Yeah, it's engraved behavior from childhood. That's what that is. You're taught this culturally, and the whole country around you is the same way. They're all teaching you the same thing. It becomes a part of your DNA, right? That's why, like, you can disown yourself from it, but there's going to be a time when you're going to be tested in a certain way where all this stuff starts coming back, because that's what you know from childhood, right? And that's why it's dangerous. I mean, it takes years for a lot of people to undo it. Sometimes people never overcome it.
Now, on that same subject, I want to talk about something else too, if I have your permission. What I want to know is, there's a lot of Muslims now. I think we talked about this briefly, but I want to talk a little bit more about that, because I'm slow to understand some of this stuff. A lot of the Muslims are saying that Muslims should sit on the sidelines here, let these guys figure it out, because Iran is a Shia nation. They're enemies of the Muslims, and they've done a lot of harm to the Sunnis across the world. Let them fight it out. Let them beat each other to death and beat the hell out of each other. We don't care. We need to, take a back seat on this one. How do we address this?
So, again, I'm going to ask you.
I'm
for a little
asking
more.
him.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Ultimately,
You're looking at me. That's why.
I mean, we kind of talked about this on the last show, where we talked about some of the crimes, the many crimes that the Iranians did with, in coordination with Hezbollah on the Syrian revolution, the massive bombing campaigns, the indiscriminate barrel bombing that they repeatedly did on Aleppo. It can never be ignored. It can never be forgiven. That's not our forgiveness to give. That's the people of Syria to decide that.
But how is that killing of the Muslims different than what the Gulf nations have done over the past 3 years in Gaza, with actively supporting the ongoing massacre? How do we differentiate between the two, if at all?
There is no difference. I think what we know, at least now, is that there is a deep division with the Israelis, and that right now the Iranians are the ones who are defending whatever is remaining of the Muslim world, at least in terms of the Israeli influence. Because we know right now that the Gulf nations are dying to make peace agreements with them, right?
With who?
With the Israelis, right? They're itching.
You think they still are?
I think so, of course.
Who?
I think Abu Dhabi and I think
No, you can't make an agreement with yourself. They're already. Come on, talk about someone else.
So, well, I would say if the Saudis were ready,
I don't think they're ever going to be ready now.
I think.
I think they learned a lesson here.
Well, I don't know what kind of lessons they think. They all have this agreement, or in their mind, they have this thinking that the Israelis think like them. That this is all about money. You say what you have to say when you want to get into power. You say all the nationalistic type rhetoric, but as soon as you get into power, we all know that you said what you had to say. That to get into power. When they meet Modi, for example, they know that Modi had to say what he had to say. At least this is what they're thinking, right? He had to say what he had to say to get into power. But now we're in the business of making money. So that when they get together, usually, even I'll say Modi included, they're all like talking about how they can make money. Okay? But the Israelis are a much different animal. They want you to think that. They want you to think that, oh yeah, you know what, we're all about making money. But they have an ideological backdrop beyond that. Beyond just making money, making sure that your interests are taken care of. They have the idea of expansion, and they're not going to let it go.
Yeah.
And the morons who are left in the Gulf who still think that this is not part of their agenda, they're incredibly mistaken. They're either they're completely bought out by the Israelis, that the Israelis have like compromising evidence of them doing inappropriate things, maybe like tapes of some sorts and stuff. It's a family show, so I'm kind of watching my tongue.
Killing journalists.
Well, that's another thing too, right?
Yeah.
But if they have like really incriminating evidence, I'm sure like their leaders, like, you know what, they have me in a checkmate, and I have to do what they have to say.
But I agree with the first part of you.
Yeah.
Of your assessment. Initially, it was all about the money and all of that, but the second part, I think, it was like that. They did not understand the Zionist mindset that it's all about expansion for them. But I think now they have come to the realization, or they should have come to the realization now, that for them now it's about their survival. Like, they've tried this route of being friends and all of that, but at the end of the day, they realize that for the West, our survival is meaningless for them. They only care about one entity, right?
I think, like, for example, Erdogan, right? Erdogan understands that these guys...
He understands. I'm talking about the GCC nations.
No. But for example, like, Erdogan and the Turkish apparatus, they have all kinds of pipelines with Israel where they're sending gas, and they're a force of or a conduit of energy supply for the Israelis, right? But the problem is that there are businesses within Turkey who depend on that business happening with Israel, even if it's in the background, not in the public eye. There are influential, powerful figures within the Turkish apparatus who will be extremely upset if Turkey breaks that type of...
Yeah, but
now, the thing is, when you are in power, like a man like Erdogan, who's hanging on to power by a thread, every person you upset who's influential in Turkey, you're risking your political collapse. So
Look,
Turkey's example is different, right? I'm talking about GCC. I'm talking about states like Qatar.
Yeah.
Forget about UAE. I'm talking about like
Qatar. I don't think was on the verge of making any kind of.
No, they were not. But I think they're reconsidering their partnership with the West, because the air base is no longer there.
Yeah.
And it was meaningless for them.
Yeah.
Similar to that, other nations. I don't know what Kuwait is thinking.
I think I think
and Oman and all these,
yeah,
and including Saudi Arabia too, because I think this was a wake up call for them. Like, if you make this deal, it's a one-sided deal.
But
I think it's all. That's what I'm saying. It's about survival for them, and
it is.
When it comes to that, they're gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that their survival...
Who, Qatar and these guys? Let's start with Qatar, because Qatar. Look, the problem with these countries is they haven't learned how to actually survive properly. They've always been almost like a parasite type state. They have all this wealth, and they've partnered with superpowers.
They hosted the FIFA World Cup.
They did, right? But the problem here now is that Iran and Qatar had supposedly had good relations before these bombings happened of Iran and Qatar, right? So think about where Qatar is now. I was thinking about this. I was like, man, these guys, first they were dependent on the West and Iran to a certain degree, but Iran actually bombs America on their land. And now they're like, wait, we're not even going to be able to survive this, because they can't leech onto America. They can't do it for too long. They can't leech onto Iran for too long if things go this way.
They gave him a 747.
Yeah, they did. But the thing is now, I don't think that they're going to be able to survive. I don't think that a lot of these Gulf countries, and they're so stupid, they know
you're
this.
siding with the Zionists.
No, and there's some seriousness to the Syriana. You know that movie Syriana? Have you seen that movie Syriana?
No.
Yeah. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
With Matt Damon, and like how he was supposed to be a financial advisor for the princes and stuff like that. I think there was some truth to that, where they haven't trained properly the mindset to become leaders. So I don't think they'll ever be leaders.
No,
and they're always going to be in a desperate situation. They're going to need somebody to protect them.
I think that issue was more so 20, 30 years ago.
But look at Qatar now. Who's going to defend Qatar if America turns against them?
They have plenty of students who came from their families and studied over here and whatnot. But what the bigger problem is, at least for the immediate future is these guys are seeing that the American resources are being directed in protecting Israel as opposed to them. Not just the Middle Eastern countries, but also the Koreans who've had their JDAMs taken away from them.
I know.
And moved to Israel. So if I'm in Korea and South Korea, I'm like, why am I having a relationship with these guys? I think, the moment these countries smell blood in the water, this can happen in the very short near future. And if we're seeing a economic collapse that's being expected within the next year, if this goes out, this is why Trump is panicking, because if there is a global economic depression, this will rewrite everything in favor of China, because no one else can depend on the United States anymore, or at least better than China. You have China as a huge alternative in your the protection of your country.
Yeah.
And China doesn't want to get involved in your internal state affairs and stuff like that, the way the United States is always meddling in.
For now.
I mean, they don't care, right? They say you handle your business. We're here in a transactional relationship with you, okay? And you manage the affairs of your country the way you see fit, where that's none of our business. But with the United States, they have to deal with the State Department and their freedom of rights and stuff like that. They're like, I thought we were friends, and your State Department is saying that, that we limit freedom of speech and stuff. That's what the Gulf countries say. Because they have the worst record in the world, according to the State Department, of basic civil rights.
But according to the Western standards.
No, but still, like you're supposed to be their friend, right? You're giving them billions and hundreds of billions of dollars.
The Trump administration,
you would think that your government arms, like the State Department, would be singing praises of you. They would be saying nice things. One of the nice you'd see, like Ahmad Shah, when he first came into power, you saw the most strangest thing. Lindsey Graham saying Ahmad Shah is a great man.
Trump saying he's a handsome man.
Yeah, handsome
good-looking
man.
guy.
All these, he's doing tours all across the United States. Well, what happened? Why is he, being propped up, especially by prominent Zionists like Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, when they're saying nice things about you? There, that there's, you pause and say, hang on a second, there's something here. Something's wrong. Okay? There's some deal has been made in the background. Maybe he's not a full-on puppet. I'm not saying that, but there's something shady that happened. Maybe they made some deals with some oil companies that are in the United States, that are based out of the United States, that said, hey, you can have control over these oil fields in Syria, and you can do the refinement for them. It's similar to how Aramco does it in Saudi Arabia, right? That's really what this is all about, know. And when you
I thought it was about Iran not getting the nuclear weapon, because
Iran,
they've been on the verge for 2 weeks for the past 20 years.
If Iran handed over their refineries to the United States, this war would have been never would have happened. They would have loved the Ayatollah. They would have loved the Ayatollah. The problem was that when the Ayatollah came into power, and this is a great interview with Tucker and this. I can't remember the guy's name. He came on and he explained how the Ayatollah came into power.
The Iranian guy?
No, this was. I'll look it up.
Okay, because I want to watch this too. Then,
but
when you say Ayatollah, you're talking about
Ayatollah was.
You're talking about Khomeini or Khomeini?
Khomeini, during the revolution in '79.
The one in '79.
He was waiting in France. He was not even in Iran when the revolution was happening.
He came in on Air France, which was a clue.
Yeah. so the United States were initially they were hey, this guy is good. Because the problem is what was happening with the Shah was that he wasn't giving the control of the oil to the United States, so he fell out of favor. That's why they wanted this revolution to happen, this Islamic revolution to happen in Iran. And they were ready to support it, but this new Khomeini, he didn't end up giving them the oil either, their companies. So they said, "Oh, our assessment is wrong about this guy. We thought he was on our side, but he's not." And it was a huge strategic blunder.
That's why Rumsfeld went and met Saddam, and they supported Saddam against them in the Iran-Iraq war.
So,
but even the thing with Iran, if we just go back there really quick, so we can move on to something else. Look, I understand how Iran is getting really, really popular in the Muslim world, but in reality, yes, they're defending the people of Gaza and Palestine, but what did they actually stop? Like, defending to me means that you came and you were actually able to make a difference and you stopped something from happening or mitigate a big level of it. Like Iran, yeah, people were really excited because they were attacking Israel. Like you saw social media get lit up, or people like, yeah, let them burn. You know, they were copying what Jordan Peterson said about Palestine, but they actually just lit up Israel. They lit up their allies in the Gulf countries. But what did they actually do to stop the carnage in Gaza? Right? They actually didn't do much, did they?
well, it's undeniable.
They put up an onslaught against them, but they didn't actually like defend them.
Right, of course they can't.
Right?
I mean,
so I'm just saying we shouldn't fall into that trap either. Where
they didn't do that
like
with
the saviors.
They didn't do that with Hezbollah either.
No, they didn't.
Right? I mean,
they didn't.
So
they didn't.
So the way the international order works is that unless you weren't attacked yourself by Israel, you can't get involved.
I know. I get it.
So
is that the same order America is following now when they attack Iran?
Absolutely not. But the thing is, Iran, the United States is much more powerful, and they can rewrite what they're clearly demonstrating to the world right now is that they're creating that they're so powerful that they can make the rules now.
I thought it was the United Nations.
Well, you got the United Nations colors on,
which is headquarters in New York.
You're wearing UN blue today.
But hold on. Can I go back to this question about how we? I think we're looking at this from a wrong lens. I think we should look at it from a different perspective, which is, I don't think we need to get into the argument of Sunni and Shia and all of that. Yeah, they've done terrible things in the past, so have the other Gulf nations, other Muslim nations, and all of that. I think we should look at this as oppressor versus oppressed. I think you should take religion out of it. Anytime an oppressed nation or an oppressed group of people are fighting the oppressor, naturally you're going to be happy about that. I think that's what
I think. Look at it at a human level.
Yeah, look at it from a human perspective. Yeah. That's the same thing. Like whether it's happening in Ukraine or what happened in Burma or anywhere else, you should look at it from that perspective first. I don't think you should put. Yes, faith is part of it, but it should not be the main thing. Which unfortunately, that's what it seems like. And I don't buy this argument of, what have they done for Palestine? Like, why do you expect them to do anything for Palestine? Like, given their record and given their history, I don't think it's a fair comparison. But in this current scenario, I think a lot of people are seeing what's unfolding for the first time. They're seeing the superpower of the world by the modern definition. Iran actually seems to have no clue about what they're doing. Did not have a game plan going in. Don't have an exit strategy. They see the messaging all over the place. They see them struggling, and that's pretty evident. What's happening on the battleground is different. I mean, the complete blackout of coverage of the actual casualties of what's happening. And speaking of casualties, has anyone heard from the pilots that they recovered? Because no one seems to know who they were or what they were. And for some reason,
you're talking about the rescue operation.
Yes, the rescue operation of the downed pilot, where for some reason you needed two C-15 or what is that, C-15 or 14, whatever. The big transport planes.
The 130. C-130s.
C-130s, two of them that they needed, and multiple helicopters that they needed, for some reason, to rescue a single downed pilot that was hiding up in a mountain.
Does seem a little weird.
The length that they would go to rescue one person.
But they were all destroyed. All those all those transports were destroyed, right?
For the rescue of, there's like $400 million worth of destruction for those rescues. Imagine that.
That's insane.
$400 million.
You know, I think, everyone knows that rescue story was BS because ultimately what they did was, what they were planning was, they went to get the enriched uranium. Basically, that's what they were going for, and the mission failed. And when Trump found out that the mission failed and they suffered this casualty, that's why he went on that. If you look at the timeline, that's why he went on that crazy rampage on Sunday morning, saying, "Open the effing strait, you crazy."
Easter morning.
It happened. If you look at the timeline, that's what it was.
You're right.
He was lashing out because of that.
Something catastrophically was revealed to him. Either what would happen if this strait remains closed for the foreseeable future was outlined to him or briefed to him by senior officials in the White House that, hey, if this is closed for any much longer, this is the path we're going on as a nation. And I bet that mission with the uranium that Sheikh Khan is talking about right now, where these gunships were or these transport ships were there for.
That's why I needed all that transport.
It was a colossal, failure. Where because if you saw in the wreckage, there appeared to be dead bodies, charred bodies of pilots. So.
And then also, if you look where they said the first pilot was recovered or the plane had gone down. I mean, it's all plotted on the map, right? If you look at where that was and where they said they rescued the pilot after 2 days, where he was basically supposedly hiding, and they rescued him from there. Within less than 48 hours, they rescued him, right? And that was a distance of more than 100 miles. So this guy who ejected out of the plane, who they said was injured, he was unable to walk that much. Miraculously, he covered over 100 miles in less than 2 days, walking, while people were hunting for him.
That's true.
What a hero. When are you going to have him on the podcast?
Who, Trump?
No, the hero pilot that was rescued. We need to hear the story about how he was able to walk more than 100 miles.
Oh, man.
And according to, what's his name? Pete Hexet, his first transmission, when they were able to get in touch with him, was he said, "God is good," or something like that. At least he didn't say Allahu Akbar like Trump said. What did he say? He said Alhamdulillah.
All praise be to Allah.
Yeah.
Praise be to Allah.
What do you think is going on with him? Do you think he's doing this on purpose, or do you think he's seriously losing his mind?
I think he's under a lot of pressure. I don't think he's lost his marbles. I don't think he's crazy. I think he's under a lot of pressure, and he's being told about what the consequences of this war is going to be. I don't think the United States as a state is behaving rationally anymore. It's not this whole bombing campaign, this whole war in Iran, where they killed the head of state of Iran, was a catastrophic blunder. It will actually bring in more religious, more strict hardliners into power in Iran. Who in their right mind would want to negotiate with the United States? I think it's even silly to have agreed to anything with the United States right now. I would not have agreed to any ceasefire. I would have said, if I was Iran, I would have said before we even begin the ceasefire, I want the sanctions removed as a show of goodwill. Just removed. I want complete freedom. That it shows me that you're serious about peace. Not that we come back and have this 2 weeks circus where you're plannings established in the back again. Did you hear about how they started moving the ships? The naval blockade. That they started preemptively moving the ships into the Strait of Hormuz. The Navy during the negotiations, and then the Iranians sent a message saying, "Hey, we're going to bomb the hell out of these ships if you don't move back."
I remember them making the threat. I don't know that was the reason why. Okay,
but this you're using these negotiations to make your next moves. I'm not even going to give you that much. Why should I?
Yeah, they show the world they just do whatever they want. The rules don't really matter for them.
So when you're negotiating peace, they were negotiating peace when the Ayatollah was killed, right? Ayatollah Khamenei, when he was bombed, they were still in negotiations. When you have that much bad faith that your negotiations did not have were not have broken off yet, and you went ahead and attacked the leader of a foreign nation,
that's crazy.
That is no way. You have to come up with ways to rebuild trust. Why should I give you anything?
And that's just like just killing a civilian is bad. Imagine like a leader. That's a whole different level of like bad faith, because you're talking about bad faith.
Yeah,
that's the worst type of faith you can have in anybody who's supposed to be having talks with you. No trust whatsoever. Yeah, that's really crazy.
So I honestly think that even this ceasefire was ill-advised. It should not have taken place. I would not have agreed to anything until, because at what point do you have nothing to lose? They're bombing bridges. They're committing war crimes.
Yep.
The international war crimes, established war crimes, where these were laws that the United States was part of in making. When you're this is
for others.
Yeah.
It was
Corruption.
for others, not for them.
Not for them. It was for others, right?
Who's gonna hold them accountable?
That's right.
Pakistan or India?
Mr. Sharif.
So I mean, I don't know.
I think China also misplayed this as well. Even though people are praising China for playing it cool, I don't think so. I think the Chinese missed a golden opportunity when the Strait of Hormuz was closed off. They should have brought their warships in. They should have brought their navy in. They have a very good navy. I'm not saying it's up to. It's not close to where the Americans are, but estimates are that by 2035, their navy will be just as good as the United States, and that they're also having going to soon have a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier as well, and many other advances that they've made over the past 20, 30 years in their technology, in their navy. I don't think they're ready yet to go head-to-head against the United States, but what they could have done is just bluffed. And I'm sure that the United States would have blinked. The United States does not want to be involved in a war with China. They just don't.
That was disastrous.
So they could have brought a few naval vessels in there and said, "Hey, we're just here to make sure our product is moving out safely." Instead, now
they did say that. Now they said they don't want interference from the U.S. with this blockade nonsense. We have a deal with Iran in terms of them exporting oil to us.
We'll see after the ceasefire expires. Or
I think even now, even through this blockade, I think I believe the Chinese ships are still going through.
There was one Chinese vessel that had gone through, but I don't think about I'm not sure if there's any more that went through, but still, it would have been a smart move to have had a couple Navy frigates that were there representing China, because the United States, even if it's a couple small vessels from your Navy that are there, they don't want that interaction to happen. They don't want an international crisis to unfold between two nuclear-powered nations.
Maybe they are looking at something more important than this Strait of Hormuz, fiasco. Maybe they're planning and preparing for taking Taiwan.
That's a golden opportunity. It's a golden opportunity right now that the Chinese are you saw a curious statement come out of Xi. Xi said, "We're seeing a collapse of the rule-based order." This is just a recent statement a couple days ago. Now that is not just said willy-nilly. When you're saying that, you're saying we're not all playing by the same rules anymore. And if you're not going to play by the same rules, we're not going to play by those rules.
Yeah, you don't have to.
And if that's the case, then I can just take Taiwan.
Bam.
And I can just make sure that South Korea is within my umbrella. And other Southeast Asian countries are within my umbrella. Maybe Japan will become under my sphere of influence soon. The only weakness that the Chinese have against the United States is their navy, and that's growing every year. Every year, by 2035, their navy will be just as big and beautiful as the United States.
Who's? Chinese?
The Chinese, yeah. They're expected to have 12 aircraft carriers by, I think 12? Damn. Or was it, sorry, not 7, maybe, I think it was 7. 7 aircraft carriers by 2035. And having the aircraft carriers, one aircraft carrier in itself is a big deal. Having 7 by 2035 is insane. That means a lot of preparation is going underway to shore up your navy. They're preparing for something big, and they're. I think they've even admitted it in the past. I think a couple of years ago or a year ago, they said we're expecting a military confrontation with the United States within the next 10 years.
Jeez. So
they're getting ready. They know that it's going to happen.
All right. Well, I want to move on to one more thing, but before I do, I want to. I was just looking at our feed here, and there was a comment on here saying that Imran Khan didn't deny anything. Get your facts right before doing this show. So I believe I had mentioned that he had said that he doesn't blame America anymore. This was towards his end. There's multiple articles on there. Go online. He didn't say this recently. We may have not made that clear. He didn't say this recently. He was saying this basically pretty much before he was removed. If you search for it, you'll find it. Al Jazeera has an article as well. It says Imran Khan's U-turn, no longer blaming U.S. for his ouster as SPM. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
So there are multiple articles. You can go and read about it. I want to come back to this non-stop entertainment of what we're seeing being posted by the president on every single day is a new is something.
This is the article. This is for the listeners who's upset by it.
Yeah, that's one of them. There are multiple like that.
But this was from before he got disposed.
Yeah.
But the entertainment, the Trumpian entertainment.
Yeah, the Trump is providing one part of the entertainment, but the breakout entertainment of this whole fiasco has been the Lego videos.
The Lego videos was amazing.
They're so cute too. How can you not like them?
What's going on with that?
Oh,
they hit the right demographic. The Lego culture. My kids love Legos.
Are they learning a lot of?
I hope they didn't see too many of those, but like
geography lessons,
bro. If you wanna influence 4-year-olds to 30-year-olds, that's the perfect way to do it. And the hip hop that they're trying to lace in it, and all the other stuff that they're involved with. It may seem corny when you watch it, but after a while, everybody's talking about it, and they did their job.
It's like they're coming out with like almost like 2-3 a day now.
Oh yeah,
like,
AI,
well,
baby, AI.
So I kind of looked into it. There's different groups who are responsible for it.
Yeah.
There's one that does a really good job. Their name is
Explosive Entertainment.
Explosive Media.
Explosive Media.
Yeah, Explosive Media. So Explosive Media does the really good ones that many of you guys have seen, undoubtedly. Liar is one of the ones that was really good. Here we go. Let me play this one. Sorry.
That's a good one.
Can we ask them?
Yeah. Yeah. Keep that same
The
energy.
symbolism is so awesome in all of
You
it.
ain't nothing but a fraud. Yo, call him what he is. Liar!
Loser.
Hey. Yeah. Hey, loser, come closer. I'm the exposer. Fake billionaire, your whole empire opposer. You step down, another liar takes the crown. The whole system is a circus. You're just a clown. You drop fake news, sitting high in your tower. Morally bankrupt, just drunk on the power. You're fired. Played your last trump card. No more aces, boy, you're discarded. Look in the mirror, tell me what you see. Big ego crushed, fake reality. We carve it in stone, we spell it in the fire. Ready for the truth, call him the liar. Labor of blood on your pride. Island Epstein secrets you hide.
This is great,
All
dude.
your crimes buried deep inside. Rotten systems, you're gonna slide. L-I-A-R.
Look at the symbolism in this. This is crazy.
We don't wipe us off the socials, yeah, you're hiding in fear, trying to silence every voice you don't wanna hear. From the MJ to Diana, yeah, we see how it goes. The system buries light, but the shadow always shows. Illuminati talks blood and the perjury. You lie, but the mission, it's Epstein fury. Yeah, round fool, yeah, the records are proof. Now we expose it all, this is April truth. Look in the mirror, tell me what you see. Big ego crushed, fake reality. We carve it in stone, we spell it in the fire. Ready for the truth, call him the liar. Labor of blood on your pride. All your crimes buried deep inside. Rotten systems, you're gonna slide. Hide, hide. L-I-A-R. Yeah, we see you. L-I-A-R. We don't believe you. L-I-A-R. 13%. That's a failing grade. The world is watching, 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 watching. Liar!
Wow.
So yeah, this last part's pretty good. Let's be clear, this ain't about politics, it's about character. 13%, that's the verdict on your soul. You spent your whole life chasing ratings, building a golden cage around a pathetic
Yep. And the reason why this is so
empty man,
profound.
a con artist who got too loud. You ain't a leader, you're a joke without a punchline. History won't remember a president, it'll remember a shameful footnote. You got zero respect, period. So
Yep.
this is brilliant. I mean, this is like better than anything that the Americans could have produced in Hollywood. Just masterful.
And you know why this actually hits home? This kind of stuff, people can say whatever they want. You know, they say, "Oh, I don't read the ratings. I don't." This kind of stuff damages him so bad internally. Did you see like how happy he is, like on the UFC when people just tell him they love him and they like him, how big his smile is, and he loves that gloating and that popularity. This, when he sees this is a thing that actually like attacks his soul, even though it looks very minuscule. This thing of just people like around the world knowing him as a liar and all the symbolism that's involved, and like me not taking you seriously, this stuff hurts him.
It hurts him. He's very attuned to what people are saying
Oh,
about
yeah.
him. He knows. He has his finger on the pulse. He's always on the internet, always on social media.
Yep.
He is
He
very
cares
much,
very much about what people think about him.
Yeah.
Very much so.
and he's being exposed, and he's seeing his ratings tumble to 13% approval rating. So, and they're laughing at him, and this is why he's tweeting out the way he is, and you're seeing a man who is getting increasingly desperate for approval. He came to, because who wouldn't? He ran on this idea that he's not going to
Yeah.
go into another Middle Eastern war. He
Yep.
was making fun of Biden for causing wars and stuff like that, and he basically lied to his base. And now he is issuing tweets against Tucker Carlson, Candace
Disparity,
Owens,
desperate.
and all the different MAGA
Low IQ. Low IQ. They're low IQ.
Savages, that's what he called them. Yeah, but the thing is that, look, people, you know what, I heard of him a lot? People are saying that, hey, Tucker Carlson is more powerful than you.
Yeah.
Candace Owens is more powerful than you. This kind of stuff irks this type of people.
Yeah.
They're saying he may be the Republican nominee for 28.
Who, Vance?
No, Tucker, not Vance. I think even Vance knows he's not going to get anything. He's on a humiliation tour
How do you
right
guys think
now.
Dan Bilzerian's going to do?
Huh?
How do you guys think Dan Bilzerian's
He
going to
may actually win.
I think he's going to be Randy Fine. He's very possibly, he may. This is going to be
So
hilarious.
here's the
Florida's not really going to allow it, but
Who's going to read this?
so this I'm not going to read it, but I'm just saying, I'm just showing a bit of the initial tweet that he sent out. It starts out with, "I know why Tucker, Megan, Candace, Alex Jones have been fighting me for years." They weren't fighting you for years, by the way. It only started
They supported him all these years.
he's the reason why. Yeah.
especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the number one state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon. These guys, so he goes on just this incredibly long tirade of just yelling at them and saying that Candace Owens is crazy, and that Macron's wife is more pretty because than Candace, because
That was so funny. He's not even a lady.
so just all kinds of
That's disputed. That's disputed.
Not anymore. But anyways.
But you know you're living in crazy time when for some reason you think Alex Jones is the sane person in the conversation.
Alex Jones was the biggest Trump supporter. All he did was talk about how great he was.
Even before Trump came on scene, right? Like he had the most craziest theories.
Complete idiot.
You know,
Yeah.
and now he's the sane one in this whole conversation.
But even then, he's still trying to make excuses. No, I think he's overcome with a demon. He comes out with the stupid stuff. It's actually not him. He's overcome with a demon. Like they're all making.
No, I don't.
It's
No,
all
no. I
stupid
think
stuff.
no. I don't think he's trying to make excuses for him. They're not friends anymore.
No, excuse for him. The excuses of how much he messed up and supporting Trump, and now he's looking so bad.
Yeah. But why do you think these videos are so popular now?
To
And
get
they're
him back on track. Only way to do it is to go after him viciously. You've already shed all over me.
yeah, they're
And
not
you trying to rub it
coming.
in. I just at that point I don't care anymore. So if you think I've been coming after you, if you think that I'm trying to get clicks by attacking you so the Democrats that don't buy anything from me and don't like me want to put me in jail, if you think I've been on your ass, say one more thing. One more thing out of your mouth. And Laura Loomer, send him this, okay? One more thing.
Oh, and then what?
When I've gone through hell back in your ass because you were the lesser of two evils, then I'm going to show you how the cow ate the cabbage. Do one more thing.
This is so cute, bro.
You should be kissing my ass. But
love
instead,
when you
you
go to
shit all
commit.
over me and rub it in. I'm not looking for a fight, but if you want one, you came to the right place. I'm just going to scorch earth Trump to get him back on track. Only way to do it is to go after
Yeah,
him
you're
viciously.
gonna do it,
You've
yeah.
already shed all over
I
me.
don't care about you, bro.
All right, so he sounds really mad.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Can I ask you guys one last thing before we conclude? Is it just a little bit of posturing that the U.S. is sending about 10,000 troops altogether, land and sea, to the Gulf countries, to the Middle East? What do you think that is? Because they had to announce it. They made it kind of like a
Nothing.
announcement spectacle. It's nothing, right?
It's just
Preparation or what?
it's
just in
nothing.
case.
They're not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any land invasion. There's not gonna be any boots on the ground.
Yeah.
There's gonna be an announcement.
I agree that that's not going to happen, but the fact that it's announced and everybody's talking about it, what do you think is behind it? Like, why is it just? It can't be for no
just
reason. Right?
to like intimidate them.
Okay.
To let them know, like,
That's what I was
we're ready
thinking.
to go, and we can resume at any time, and all of this
Yeah.
nonsense. But
Did you see the Israeli government releasing this list?
yes.
No.
So this is the top 10 people, is it?
Oh my God, Omar Suleiman's on there,
top
bro.
10 anti-Semites. This is official release from the Israeli government.
Wow.
So the ones that made the list is Dan Blazarian, Greta Thunberg at number 2, Bassem at number 3, Candace at 4, Abdul Bari at 1, at 5, Omar Suleiman at 6. Omar Suleiman. Anastasia Maria Lupis, she's a Twitter commentator. Nick Fuentes, Ian Carroll, and Tucker Carlson.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
But, speaking of tweets, I'm sure everyone have seen the picture by now after Trump had a little dispute with the Pope. He posted a picture of himself, which many interpreted as him posing himself as Jesus healing someone.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But then, when they asked him, why he did it, the explanation that he gave was...
So funny.
But put
He was
that
a
picture
healer.
up.
He was a healer. He was a doctor.
No, yeah. He said is a picture of him as a doctor,
Yeah.
a Red Cross doctor.
Like the Red Cross. had a
Okay,
big
we
influence.
love our...
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support.
The Red Cross is there.
What does that mean? Red Cross is there. That's so funny, dude.
I just heard about it, and I said, "How did they come up with that?" It's supposed to be me as a doctor, making people better. And
That
I
looks
do
like a
make people
doctor.
better. I make people a lot better.
No,
Well, what's that in the background? Do you see
Zoom in. Look at those.
Are those angels or something?
Look at those people.
they look like demons.
Look what it is. You guys never zoomed in on that? Zoom in on it.
One doesn't have a head. One
I
has...
can't zoom in. It's a video. So.
Okay.
Oh wait, maybe hang on. Maybe I can do it like this. 1 second. I'm just playing with this OBS real quick.
There you go. Look at that.
What is that? Okay, that looks like. Is that Statue of Liberty? No.
Statue of Liberty come to life.
What is? It looks like some kinds of figures that are coming from heaven. One of them looks like a soldier.
Yeah.
One of them looks like a demon. I don't know. Or Statue of Liberty.
He's trying to make a Christian-esque, like
But
a heaven
anyway.
thing with soldiers. But ridiculous. Well, he took it down. Okay, guys, he had good faith. He took it down.
No, you know what? You know what else happened? I was listening to an interview today. I forgot by who, but they said actually Trump messed up in his explanation of the picture when he said it was supposed to be a doctor and Red Cross and all of that, because when his team found out about the backlash that he was facing, they told him to go out there and tell them that it was a doctored picture.
You're kidding me.
I'm serious.
This is the problem with him not reading a teleprompter, bro.
He said,
And him not taking notes.
Okay. He said, so then he went out and said,
Idiot, bro.
it
What
was
an
supposed to be
idiot.
me as a doctor.
Complete idiot. Puppet of Israel, bro. The number one puppet of Israel.
I don't know. I think
How much abuse can a personality like that take before he just breaks? Is the question.
I think he's insulated by yes men. You know, like Miller and Vance. I don't know how much Vance. I think Vance is just a yes man. He knows like what's happening, but others like Hexet, this moron Loomer, okay, like they are giving him, what he wants to hear basically, and whatever else he, finds out on his own online, pretty much.
And he depends on a lot of people to fill him in, and God knows what they're telling him, But whatever.
Did you guys see this whole bee thing that's going on?
Yes, that was beautiful to see.
So Sheikh, you want to
A whole lot of sweetness. Yeah, so I mean, I was just reading on it today too. It was just updated, I think, like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, where bee invasion infestation. They actually told a certain area of some of the settlements for them to stay home and don't leave. It's a state of emergency. It's actually really dangerous. So there's a portion of Israel that's actually
millions of bees have descended on Israel.
Yep.
Apparently,
yeah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Everything is a soldier of Allah, man. But the beautiful thing is because they're bees, there's something else as a Muslim. There's something else beautiful about that too, where you sees that everything obviously is a sign from Allah. That's a clear sign from Allah.
Yeah.
Any discomfort that's caused because of bees,
Yeah.
you know that's something, bro. That's something beautiful.
Yeah.
You can only appreciate that.
Because last month it was crows.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Crows were, and then remember there was also a video of a crow removing an Israeli flag. Did you ever see that video?
That's an old video.
Yeah, but that was
That's
pretty
not
cool
from
though.
you.
Yeah, that was pretty old, but
We know you're up to date on everything. Just let the man speak, okay? What do you guys
all right.
say?
Do you guys have any other items?
No.
Yeah, I had one.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Good. Alhamdulillah.
Maybe I'll remember. Can you?
No, reminding you. No.
Oh yeah. I remember now. Have you read or real quick? We'll end after this. I gotta go to. Have you heard or read about how they were able to convince Trump to go to war? They had an actual meeting in the Situation Room where he was given a presentation, and everyone in the room basically told him it's not a good idea, including Vance. But J.D. Vance told him he'll go along with him if he goes with it.
This came out last week,
But,
right?
Yeah. But how many countries do you know where the head of a foreign nation comes and sits at your table, at your the most sensitive part of your government, and is sitting at your table equal to you, and giving you a presentation about why you should go to war with another nation, and then you go along with that?
Yep. He's a slave.
There's one item I just want to quickly speak about before we wrap things up. Muslims in the U.S. should know about this imam from Milwaukee area. Imam Salah Sarsour was abducted by ICE on Monday, March 30th. Salah serves as the president of the Islamic Society of Milwaukee, a board member of American Muslims for Palestine, and has been a community advocate for over 3 decades. He is a father, grandfather, a dear husband, and a kind and principled role model for countless people in Milwaukee and beyond. So they...
You said abducted by ICE?
Yeah. So they abducted him, and then they deported him to Indiana.
Transferred him, right?
Yeah, I know, but
That
like
sounds funny, though.
I don't know what they're planning on doing with them, because as you saw, we've had Imad Sadeh on our show, who is in kind of these limbo type situations where he came in on a refugee passport, and they tried to deport him back to Palestine, which is now Israel, and Israel says, no, you can't come back. So he's permanently in this weird immigration status, right?
Oh, yeah.
So where are you planning on deporting Sheikh Salah to?
Indiana.
You know,
So
they
ridiculous.
just deported him to Indiana, and they can't do anything about it because obviously the Israelis aren't going to allow him back into the country.
So when they say Indiana, that means he can't leave Indiana? Is that what that is? That's so weird.
No, it's just like
He's in a detention center.
Oh.
detention center. Yeah.
So,
Speaking of ICE and detention center, it's reminded me of another story. I don't know if you saw this or not. There was a story about a girl that was supposedly detained at O'Hare and then transferred over to another state. And she was in ICE detention.
Yeah.
The story turns out that it was all a made-up story that she made up.
Oh,
You didn't? Did you read that?
I didn't know that was made up. I heard about the initial story.
Yeah, the whole thing was made up. She was living in a hotel over here.
oh
And then
my
she
God.
went over to Wisconsin. The family, they had a big, it was a big deal because at that time the ICE detentions were,
Wait, was she a Muslim or?
Yeah. Now she's being sued.
What's her name?
Here, I'll post the link. She's being sued for $1 million.
By who? By ICE?
By ICE and other agencies as well for giving them a bad name.
They're trying to make an example out of her. Petty stuff.
She said she was detained and then she was taken by force. All of these claims that she made.
I want to delve deep into that. She's probably building up a story for something she was trying to cover her tracks with, man. Allah.
And she's being sued for defamation. Okay. She was the article. They said she was not detained by ICE at any time. She was not transported to Broadview detention. She was not transported across the state lines
for nearly 2 days after flying home from Turkey. Her narrative took off. Politicians piled on. The media reported that she was stuck in detention with ICE. But here's the problem. DHS says she wasn't detained. Instead, surveillance footage shows she was at a hotel, allegedly enjoying the spa. But those local politicians, including congressional candidate Kevin Morrison, were already taking photos, standing with her family and selling the story. The two are now subjects of a federal defamation lawsuit filed by the local sheriff. So from ICE detention to room service. 20-year-old.
Oh, boy. Some of these people are... Well, I mean, look, we know about the detention of the blind man that ICE did. And they left him, in the cold. And he ended up dying out in the cold. So I can't remember his name, but there's been plenty of incredibly criminal things that of course, there's going to be some stupid people who take advantage of the national fury and they want the attention and limelight. There's just mentally ill people that are there that who will take. We saw this after 9/11. We saw people Muslims, certain Muslims who wanted the limelight. They complained about discrimination when there was they didn't experience anything. Not that other Muslims didn't, but certain Muslims came up and said, "Oh, they wanted attention." One of them was upset about the Diet Coke that they got, and then that the Diet Coke wasn't actually opened the right way, or they were supposed to get a different type of Coke Zero or something. But they made a big fuss about it on the airplanes, and they got all this media attention around them. So there was one of those. There's a few of these
this
people.
stuff happens randomly once in a while. Anyways, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Just mentally ill people. Well, you can't do much about them. That's our show for this evening. Thank God we're not mentally ill. We're just mad.
That we know.
That's because I'm taking Tylenol.
Against the stated the administration's advice.
Against the presidential advice.
Against Kennedy's advice. Okay. Well, we see where you.
Speaking of Kennedy, hold on. Last
Here
thing.
we go.
Speaking of RFK Jr.
Yeah.
Do you know he's starting a podcast soon?
No way.
No way.
Like where you can actually hear him talk. Like if
Why, is he getting a voice changer?
Have you heard him speak?
Yeah, is he getting a voice changer so his voice is more clear?
Do you think he is a strong candidate to have a podcast where you can sit there and listen to him talk about stuff?
He thinks he is. I kind of like his voice, to be honest with you.
All right. I need to reply to him. Can you end the show?
All right. That's our show for this evening. We'll see y'all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
I want their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.